Amen. We want to pray and get started. Thank you all for coming. As you remain standing, if you would just grab hands with the person next to you. I want to show you what I have in my hand are 2 chicken dinners. Both have the same meal on it. It's a thigh, a leg, mashed potatoes, green beans, and a biscuit. How many of you would want to eat off of this plate? How many of you all would eat off of this plate? Why would you not eat off of this plate? It's the same food. It's a trash can lid. So it doesn't matter how good the food is. If I present it to you on this, you're probably not going to receive it. Right? As a matter of fact, I could have less tasty food on this, and you're more apt to try it because it's on this, even if it don't taste quite as good. I'm saying that to tell you all presentation is everything. Even in church, it means everything. And believe it or not, we have great things to offer, but I'm sad to say a lot of times, y'all, we offered it to people on this instead of this. You cannot give people the things of Christ with a horrible presentation. And we're here today to work on our presentation. We have to quit offering Christ on a trash can lid. The idea of it is, I don't know where it came from. I don't know where it's been. I don't know what it's been through. The whole idea of the trash can lid suggests that it's unsanitary, that it's not safe, that it could be even spoiled. But the plate at least says somebody at least took time to serve it right. And when we talk about developing ministry, when we talk about developing church, when we talk about growing church, it is very important that presentation of the church is correct. And many of us have great gifts to offer, but we serve it on trash can lid type lives. And we expect people to eat of it and take of it because it's good, but they never get past the presentation. They never get past the fact that we are not what we're supposed to be, not acting like who we're supposed to be. We're mean, we're indifferent, we're not perfected in what we're trying to give to the people. And so most of the time, people will go somewhere else rather than deal with a faulty presentation. Somebody say amen. So we've come together here today to perfect our presentation. If you think we could use perfection or perfecting in that area, would you give God some praise? Now the idea, you represent leadership, so the idea today is not to focus on what you know about other people. The idea is to ask yourself, how can I perfect what I do? How can I improve what I do? Thank you, Shanna. Let's go to the next slide. Y'all give Shanna a hand for helping me today. Presentation is everything. People remember what happened when how it happened is significant. What makes the event is the setting that it happens in. So people remember worship because of the setting you give them for worship. People remember different things that happen because of the setting it happened in. If the setting is not significant, it's going to make it very difficult for me to remember. But if we provide a very significant setting, they'll never forget what they've experienced. The question we must ask ourselves is, how significant is our worship setting? How significant is our worship that it would make people never forget what they've experienced? In the part of the ministry that you serve in, are you doing anything extraordinary that would make a person say, I'll never forget what I experienced that day? I'll never, never forget what happened to me today. And it is a good feeling, and it is a feeling that makes them not only want to come back, but bring somebody back with them. The question can only be answered if we know what makes something significant to our people. So, as we deal with our people, what's significant to them? Not in a vacuum, not what we think ought to be significant, but what is it that's significant to them? One of the things we do in church is we like to duplicate things that work. The problem in duplicating everything you've ever done that worked, it keeps you stagnant in the same place. Is this making sense? I can only become as great as my ability to reach. If I stop reaching, I'll never develop anything new. Is this making sense? So in church, what we tend to do is not even take inventory of who's sitting in the sanctuary. We just keep giving them all the old stuff that used to work. We never look that times may change, that people may have changed, that this may be a different group. We just keep throwing the same stuff at them over and over again because it worked somewhere else. And you got to hear me, and I've been sharing this with people for a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks now, or maybe a month now. I do not want to be where God has been. I want to be where God is. I want to be where God is headed. The problem with most churches is we're all excited about being where God has been. And so we go like sightseers saying, ooh, isn't this great, God been here. Instead of being trailblazers, said, I'm on my way to where God is. Is this making sense? And so we have to decide as a church, are we going to be sightseers or trailblazers? And so typically we wait to go see Phenomenal Ministries, and if they got something that works, we bring it back and try to make it work in our place, and it never quite works the way it did for them because that's where God met them at. The question is, where's God meeting us at? And God meets the people based on their condition and the need they have for him. So the question is, what kind of people do we have? And what do they come to church in need of? This can only be known if we know who our people are. Now here's something that's very interesting. I know y'all. I don't know the people that come to church. I know all y'all's names. I got a handle on your basic testimony, where you come from. I know y'all, but I don't know the people we see in church. Because it's y'all's job to know them. It's my job to know y'all. Is this making sense? Let's use the biblical reference. Jesus did not know the multitudes that followed him, but he did know the 12. You all represent the 12. And I need for you to be really connected to the people so that we always know who we have sitting in the congregation. If you all don't care about them, they won't feel cared for. They will settle for coming to hear me preach and then leaving and going back into their regularly scheduled life. Only when Jesus touches them, and hear me, more time, Jesus does not touch them through what I preach. Not as effectively as he touches them through what you live. They'll hear me preaching. They know if it's good preaching or bad preaching and know if they got something out of it. But really changing their life, that ain't going to come from me. That motivation will come from you all. Is this making sense? So you have to know, you have to care who's there. And we can only know who our people are if we take the time to acquaint ourselves with them. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, let's stop right here. One of the things that has been, what y'all think? Y'all like that? Good, because I already registered it with the state. And I already got all the paperwork filled out. So look, here's a praise. I was hoping y'all would like it. Y'all like it? He came back around. I showed him that name, and he said, I like it. He said, it's going to work. He said, before long, everybody will be calling your church Tri-C. He said, you'll add 200 people to your church in 6 months just because you simplified the name.